Okay, I don't know if this is working or not. Let's see, because my computer appears to be frozen. Can everyone hear me?
Yes, but it's a little bit frozen.
Cat voice.
The teacher disappeared.
No problem. We'll come back. He'll come back.
Hi, Daniel.
How? Khaled?
How you doing? Yes. Where are you from?
I'm from Spain. And you? Where are you from?
Spain. I'm from Libya.
Libya. Okay. I
Yeah.
have partners working in Libya. I'm surveyor.
Partner?
Partner, yes. Friends and
Okay.
old partners in my work, in my old work. They're building a big pipe for gas in Libya.
Okay. Oil and gas. Which company?
It's a Spanish company who made
Repsol. Not Repsol. Ah,
yes.
okay. So we wait the teacher until he comes back.
Is it dangerous to live in Libya right now?
Yes, you can say that. That time is difficult for the foreign. Even the local is difficult for us, not even the foreign. But I mean, we wait until the situation will be maybe better soon. We hope that.
I hope.
Thank
Yes.
you.
It's the language in Libya. It's French, no? The official language.
Language?
Language. It's
Arabic.
French. Arabic.
No, no,
Okay.
no. Yeah, the original one, the native Arabic, but the second one English. You can find the old guy talking Italy, but we are not like Algeria and Tunisia. They spoke French very well, but for us, the old man can spoke Italy, but the new one English.
Okay. You're getting better your English then.
Yeah,
You need English
yeah, of
for a
course,
better
of course.
work, better job.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So where is the teacher? Maybe another. He should be in the same room, right? Not other.
Yes, yes. Maybe it's in connection issues.
Maybe connection. Oh, he come back. Oh, hello, teacher.
Here we are.
Yes.
Hello,
Why you look sad?
because I give up. Let's
Maybe
try
your
this again.
connection is not good. Yeah.
No,
Okay.
no, it's not my connection. It's Google Chrome is a piece of junk. That's what it is.
Ah, that's why. Yes, yes, yes.
Yes.
The technology is bad, not
I-
your connection.
But it's not my connection. It really isn't. It's Google Chrome, and I can't do anything
Yeah,
about
yeah.
it.
The
It could be.
application. Yeah. Okay.
It could be that my computer is too old to use Chrome. Like it's updating and my computer can't handle it. I don't know. But it wasn't happening yesterday. It's only today, so I don't know. Look, sorry for the delay. Let me quickly go back to our where we left off. Let me quickly go back to our presentation. Here we go. And I'll tell you what, I'll write the answers out as well, but I don't want to waste time doing it now. I'm going to come back to this in just a minute because it's going to take me a minute to reopen the answer sheet. I could just copy and paste it for you. I say answer sheet, but it's my answer sheet because I wrote this morning. So hopefully there are no mistakes on it. Comprehension quiz. Well, let's not do a quiz. Let's just make sure that what you heard was clear. Just a few questions. So, were atheists and religious people similar or different in their belief about belief? The survey was about what you believe. That's my question. I don't know if that question makes sense to everyone.
There's yes sense. It's clear, I think.
Okay, great. So, based on what you read, what would you say? Let's just clarify what you've read so far, what we just did. Was there a difference, or were they more or less the same?
I think they are different.
How so?
Because the religious people believe in God, but the atheists is the opposite of them.
Right, but that's not what the question's asking. You're absolutely right about that. But the question is asking, are they similar or different in their belief about belief in the survey that they took in the article? So
Originally they are different,
yeah.
but recent research showed that there are
similar.
They resemble. Just let me talk, Carl, please. Don't disturb me, please.
Yeah,
I'm confused when you disturb. I'm sorry.
So research showed.
So research showed that they found research showed it. There are resemble they are resemble for each other in the sense of destiny. So atheists, of course, religious people tend to believe their destiny. They think it is maybe it is a God. It is a thing so God to decide. And atheist doesn't believe doesn't believe destiny, but nowadays they began to believe there is something like destiny is working.
Okay, I think that's basically it. So the research showed that maybe there's something going on in our brains. Maybe it's us. It doesn't matter if you're religious or not, but we all seem to have this feeling of purpose, whether we believe in God or not. So that's what I meant in their belief about belief was just a way to say what they were asked about in the survey. Let me ask you another question here. I had another one. What was it? Let's say, now my mind is totally blank. I had a couple while we were reading, and now I've basically forgotten. Okay, who are the more religious people mentioned in the article? Based on what you read, who were the people who are named as more religious? It's a little bit hard to see this. Let me make it bigger. Sylvia, do you think you could tackle that one?
I think that they are American, because then in the end of the article they are comparing American religious society with the British society, and they say that British are less religious, but they are almost the same in this situation.
In this situation. All right. I agree. I think it was American. Last question for this, then we're going to actually read this, but I have one more question for you, which is, are you surprised? Are you surprised by what you heard so far? Sorry. A little hard to write and speak by what you heard in the listening. Does it surprise you? Do the findings seem unusual? Does it go against what you would have thought? Shadow, does it surprise you in any way?
Teacher, can you explain the question?
Sure. First, what part of the question is confusing? And then I'll help you with the rest.
Surprise me. That's
Surprise?
surprise. I mean, what's surprise? I don't know what's the question. I didn't get it. I know what's the meaning of surprise, but
So, is the research showing you something that you did not expect, that you did not, that you would not have thought on your own? Does it show you something unusual, something unexpected?
no.
Okay. So, know why? Know what? Be a little more specific. Know you expected exactly this?
I mean, I know that people are divided. There are believers and there are atheists, and they opposite. I mean, it's not like each other. So it's something I know it. It's not something that surprised me.
But did you know that whether you believed in God or not, most people, perhaps all people, think that there's a reason, there's a purpose for random events. That's the surprising thing for many people. Did that surprise you?
No, I believe that everything has a reason, even if it's like destiny. So
So you're one of the people. You're one of the believers.
yeah, I am a believer, and I know that everything God put in everything a reason to happen.
All right. And so, does it surprise you? So, Daniel, do you find it surprising that atheists also are believers in a secular way? They also appear to be believers according to the study. Does that surprise you?
No, because I am one of them. I'm an atheist.
Atheist?
I am atheist, but I think the things happen because of the destiny.
I certainly.
Maybe the human need to believe in something, not in a knowing God, but something like that.
So a belief in
a
belief in
destiny or something.
Yeah, destiny, purpose, reason, something to help us make sense of random events. Okay, very good. Well, let's actually read the article. It's very short, and we should have plenty of time to talk about it because it's only like 2 pages. All right. So what do you think, Sylvia? Want to start us off here?
Yes.
Go for it.
On April 15, 2013, James Costello was sharing on a friend near the finish line at the Boston and the bombs explode, severely burning his arms and legs and sending shrapnel into his flesh. During the months of surgery
And what happened to Sylvia?
and rehabilitation, the relationship with Agostino, and they soon became engaged. Mr. Costello posted a picture of the ring on Facebook. I now realize why I wish involved in the tragedy, he wrote. It was to meet my best friend and the love of my life.
There you go. Does that remind you of anything you've seen recently? Like at the beginning of the last class? Remember the graphic we looked at?
Yes, the couple with the flash, the ball.
With lightning bolt.
Lightning bolt.
Lightning bolt. Okay. Just repeat this word, the underlined word for me.
And they are cheering.
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 Like ciao.
Cheering. Cheering.
Good. And this one too, in green?
Developed? No,
green.
shrapnel.
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 Null. Shrapnel.
Shrapnel.
Yeah, it's not Nell, but null. Null. Shrapnel.
Shrapnel.
Good. That's it. All right. By the way, it's a little hard to hear you. Your sound keeps cutting out, so I couldn't hear everything you said. But I think you read the whole thing. So, what was destiny for James Costello?
He was injured by a bomb during the Boston Marathon, and when he was in the hospital after the surgery, he met this woman, Krista D'Agostino, that he was her nurse, and they fall in love.
He was his nurse.
Yes.
Not her nurse, his nurse.
His nurse.
Right.
And they fall in love.
They fell in love?
Fell in love. I think that now they are marrying.
Apparently. And he says, now I realize why I was involved in the tragedy. So he's a believer. It happened for a reason. What do you think, Sylvia? Did it happen for a reason?
No, he was only... No.
Maybe it's also an American thing. We just have to believe in a happy ending. There has to always be a reason for things, and maybe it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. Just an idea to hold on to. Self-fulfilling prophecy. Have you heard that before, by the way?
I know that he was injured about the Boston Marathon, but no, about the marriage and that he met this woman, no, of course.
Prophecy. Oh, I can't spell anything. What's my problem here? There we go. Prophecy. Have you heard that expression before? Self-fulfilling prophecy.
No.
Anyone heard that before? Or is that new for everyone?
New, yes, for me.
In this case, it's not prophecy as told by a prophet. It means if you believe in something, you make it come true unconsciously. So maybe he and the nurse both believed in this kind of love, and they just made it happen because they expected it and believed it. We call that a self-fulfilling prophecy. So it's a good expression for you. So, Yuki, want to pick up the next two short ones for us?
Okay. Mr. Costello is not alone in finding meaning in life events. People regularly do so for both terrible incidents, such as being injured in an explosion, and positive ones, like being cured of serious disease. At the phrase quotes, everything happens for a reason. Where does this belief come from? One theory is that it reflects religious teachings. We think that events have meaning because we believe in a God that plans for that plans for us, sends us messages, rewards the good and punishes the bad.
There you go. So, is this self-fulfilling prophecy according to one theory? Would you say that's an example?
Yes, it is a example I mentioned before.
So this is an example of a self-fulfilling prophecy. If we
Yes.
believe in the religious teachings, we just tend to see meaning or even make it happen ourselves. This is one theory according to the study. Okay. So who's next? Khalid, want to take the next one? But research.
But research from the Yale Mind and Development Lab, where we worked.
Wait, the Yale, not Yale, but Yale, the school, Yale.
Yeah, but research from Yale Yale Mind and Development Lab, where we work, suggests that cannot be the whole story. In the series of studies recently published in the journal Congestion,
Wait,
we asked people to reflect.
Cognition.
Good. Cognition. We ask people to reflect on significant events from their own life, such as graduation, the births of children, falling in love, falling in love, the dates of love, once falling in love,
Good.
the dates of love, once a serious illness.
Illnesses.
Sorry.
Illnesses.
Illnesses, and surprisingly, a majority of.
Wait for it.
A majority of religious belief said they thought that these events happened for a reason, and that they had been purposefully designed.
Purposefully
designed preassembled by God. But many atheists did so as well.
Wait. Atheists. Not theists, but atheists. You're adding an extra syllable, but don't worry. Go on.
Sorry for the phone ringing. I can't mute it. It's far from me. Did so as well, and a majority of the atheists in a related study also said that they believed in fate, defined in fate, right?
That's right.
Defined as the view that the life event happened for a reason, and that there is an underlying order to life that determines how events turn out.
Okay, very good. So that's the part that we listened to earlier. Now you can see it in the context of the article. That's the part that we were listening to in the last class.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think, who's next? I think Shadow. Did you read yet? No, you didn't, did you?
No.
Okay, go for it. These atheists
response weren't just the product of living in America's highly religious society. Research done at Queen's University in Belfast by the psychologists Tiffany Haywood and Jesse Peering found that British atheists were just as likely as American atheists to believe that their life events had underlying purposes, even though Britain is far less religious than America.
Okay, very good. Give me just a second here as I just see how many pages there are. Keep going, actually, because this is a little bit longer than I thought. Keep going, Shadow.
In other studies scheduled to be published online next week in the journal Child Development, we found that even young children show a bias to believe a bias to believe that life events happen for a reason, to send a sign, or to teach a lesson. This belief exists regardless of how much exposure the children have had to religion at home, and even if they've had none at all. This tendency to see meaning in life events seems to reflect a more general aspect of human nature, our powerful drive to reason in psychological terms, to make sense of events and situations by appealing to goals, desires, and intentions. This drive serves us well when we think about the actions of other people who actually possesses these psychological states, because it helps us figure out why people behave as they do and to respond appropriately. But it can lead us into error when we extend it, causing us to infer psychological state even when none exist. This fosters the illusion that the world itself is full of purpose and design.
Wow. So, what do you think about the ending? Maybe it's a little bit confusing. Do you think you could say that in your own words?
I didn't get it really.
It's a little bit confusing. So let's talk about this part. It says, this drive serves us well when we think about the actions of other people. So let me ask the class, though. There's a lot of ideas in that paragraph. Can anyone give a kind of a short version? What's the gist of the paragraph?
This is the article about destiny.
But just about this paragraph, because it's a bit confusing. What would you say specifically about this particular paragraph, about the finding?
This particular paragraph.
Yeah, about the children.
Sorry.
And if you're not sure, I'll help. It's not a problem. Maybe it's confusing.
Difficult.
All right. Let's take a look at two things here. It says, I'm going to put this in red to make it a little bit easier to see. Hold on just a second. Where's my underline? I don't want to underline it. Okay, anyway, it's only going to let me underline in green. So this drives, we have to clarify what the drive is here, and also leads us into error when we overextend it. So I think if you focus on those two ideas, it'll make a little bit more sense. So this part where it says this drive serves us well, and it causes problems when we overextend it. I think you should focus on those two ideas to make sense of it. So what do you think? Sylvia, Daniel, have any ideas before I tell you?
Drive servers are like priced.
What's
Sure.
what's the drive? Think about Freud, the death drive, the pleasure principle. What's a drive? Didn't you read Freud? Who read Freud?
No.
He talks about the death drive. We've got these different drives in life, like animal instincts.
all people are is motivated by their own primitive desire
Right.
of sex
Right.
and death. So
Sex and death.
it's a
My two favorite things.
yes, it's the main theme of Freud to study.
Freud's great.
I think here it is said that children tend to think that destiny, there is a destiny, and there is a meaning of our life, and what is happened is all have all meaning, and
That's it.
it shows that there are such a way of thinking is based on our basic existence, basic idea. So,
So it's like an idea that is just there when we're born. Something
yes.
like that. It's like an innate idea that we say. So that seems to be what the finding tells us. By the way, that doesn't mean that you shouldn't be religious. What it means is our brain seems to work in this way, whether you're religious or not. And this last part about overextending it, there are errors when we overextend it. Well, you see this with children all the time, right? Children make connections that don't exist because they're trying to comprehend a world where everything is new, which is why they're so funny, and we like to laugh at them. So, well, anyway, we'll get back to overextending in just a second. Let's finish
It's
the article.
dangerous. Maybe sometimes we misunderstand the overextend our destiny. So it leads to the illusion that there is a destiny, there is some meaning without fault.
Yeah.
Yes, by all means.
If we go back to our initial ideas of 9/11, the Titanic, and what was the third one? I forgot what the third one was. Maybe we could see examples of overextending. But let's come back to that in just a second, because we're almost finished the article. So I think, Sylvia, you think we're next. I can't remember if I did everyone. I think we're back to you.
Okay. Some people. Okay, some people are more prone to find meaning than others. In large-scale survey studies, also reported in the journal Cognition, we found that
Cognition. You gotta say the G.
Cognition.
Remember, it's not gnocchi. It's cog. Like
cognition.
Good, good.
We found that highly paranoid people who tend to obsess over other people's hidden motives and intentions, and highly empathic people who think deeply about other people's goals and emotions are particularly likely to believe in fate and to believe. Other page.
Oh, sorry. Sorry. Can you see it?
That they are hidden message and signs embedded, signs embedded
Good.
in their own life events. In other words, the more likely people are to think about other people's purpose and intentions, the more likely they are to also infer purpose and intention in human life itself.
Wow, what do you think that means in plain English? Is that clear, Sylvia, or not so clear?
Yeah, but it's difficult to...
Can you give an example? Can you give an example or an illustration? Do you know someone who's particularly empathetic, as it says on the page before? It says, highly empathetic people, people who are...
I know that usually doctor can be empathetic, because if you are too much empathetic with their passion, they will be ill as well.
So they have to have distance, right?
Yes.
Okay, very good, very good. And so here, if we are highly empathetic, right, we tend to see those connections. We talked about overextending this idea of a purpose. So the more empathetic, so that would mean that a person who is less likely to be a doctor is more likely to see connections where there may or may not be connections. It's like a personality type. That's what it means to me. Certain personality types. All right, last two paragraphs. I think we're back to Daniel next. I really lost the order, but I think it's you, Daniel. Am I right?
Okay. Wherever the origin of our belief in life's meaning, it might seem to be a blessing. Some people find it reassuring to think that there really are no accidents, that what happens to us, including the most terrible of events, reflects an unfolding plan. But the belief also has some ugly consequence.
Consequences. Don't forget the second syllable. Consequences.
Consequences.
Good.
It tilts us towards the view that the world is a fundamentally fair place, where goodness is rewarded and badness punished. It can lead us to blame those who suffer from disease and who are victims of crimes, and it can motivate a reflexive bias in favor of the status quo, seeing poverty, inequality and oppression as reflecting the working of a deep and meaningful plan.
Okay, think about that for a moment and just repeat these words. Origin.
Origin.
Origin. Jin.
Origin.
Good.
Origin.
Reassuring.
Reassuring.
Not assuring, but assuring, like shoe.
Reassuring.
Perfect. Punished.
Punished.
Very good. That's excellent. Okay, and who's reading next? I lost my place. Is it Shadow or Yuki? I don't know who's next.
Yuki.
Yuki, it's next. Go for it.
Okay. Not everyone would go as far as the atheist Richard Dawkins, who has written that the universe exhibits precisely the properties we should expect if there is, at the bottom, no design, no purpose, no evil, no good, nothing but blind, pitiless indifference. But even those who are devout should agree that at least here on Earth, things just don't naturally work out so that people get what they deserve. If there is such a thing as divine justice or karmic retribution, the world we live in is not the place to find it. Instead, the events of human life unfold in a fair and just manner only when individuals and society work hard to make this happen. We should resist our natural urge to think otherwise.
So that last statement pretty much sums it up about what the authors believe. According to the study, what the authors of the study believe, we should resist our natural urge to think otherwise. Why should we resist our natural urge to think otherwise according to the study? Why is that?
Because people in nature tend to think that that their behavior has a meaning. Uh, it's a natural instinct of humankind,
Right.
but but such a tendency lead us to the misunderstand and error.
Misunderstanding is fine.
Misunderstanding
Right.
and error. So we have to carefully think about the things that happens surrounding us.
How about the word we have to discriminate?
We have to discriminate, yes.
Yeah, between random and non-random things. We have to discriminate between them. Well, and there's a reason for this as well, as Yuki was saying. It relates to the study because it seems like it's a tendency because we've seen it in children who have not yet had a chance to form their opinion about the world, right? They just know what they've been exposed to with their parents, and yet they already seem to have this tendency to expect, whether religious or not, to expect, a human purpose, a human reason for events.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I could add that recently I read a very interesting article about structure of our brain. Human brain is made
of spaghetti. Am I right?
Yes, I mean spaghetti, but it looks like spaghetti, but it's very, very, very good made. We tend to feel anxious about everything. We always feel suspicious and feel uneasy to live this world. So our brain always want to think as much as simple, and we some parts of our brain have a very obscure way of thinking. So we don't want to think things very precisely. We want to think very very obscurely, and because we are very very anxious about everything. So
you mean we make things harder than they really are?
Yes.
Yeah?
We don't want to take reality as it is. So I think there is a connection what is written here and what I read about my brain. So it is maybe nature of our structure of brain. I mean that we
It's about your brain or about all of our brains? Just so I know.
It's a natural structure of our brain.
Okay.
It is easy for us to believe things, and we want to believe that there is a meaning of our life, of our destiny, what has happened. Yes.
Got it. Let's test it out right now. Let's test it out in the classroom. Daniel, do you believe that things happen for a reason? You're a non-believer believer. You're one of those double believer, double negatives. Two negatives make a positive. So if you do think that things happen for a reason, what examples from your own life can you give as an example of that, where something seems to have more reason than just randomness? Yeah. Let's test out Yuki's idea.
An example.
Yeah, because you said you're an atheist, but you can't help but feeling that it happened for a reason.
It's an event who changed my life, I think. I moved from Madrid to Salamanca 10 years ago
Right.
for a new job
Right.
and for looking for a new place.
Mhm.
Here, I understood. I meet my wife. I I got married, and
What a coincidence that your wife was in Salamanca. Because if you met your wife in Germany, you wouldn't be living with her now, right? Joke. It's just a
yeah,
joke.
but she was friend of my best friend here in Salamanca, and I don't know. I like to think about the destiny in this case.
So, do you think? I mean, it feels like it was just meant to happen, right? That's what you're getting at? It feels like it was purposeful. Because I have the exact opposite experience. I feel like there was no reason. I did the same thing as you. 10 years ago, I went to a new place. Never felt like there's been any reason for it whatsoever. Yet, a lot of good things actually did happen, which couldn't have happened in the States if I had stayed there. For sure, they couldn't have happened. Other things might have happened, but not those. I'm just curious if Shadow and Sylvia, if you have similar experiences to Daniel. Have you
No,
had?
I don't think that there isn't a destiny. Sometimes things happen, that's all.
But do you have an experience where you've kind of felt like, oh, this was just meant to happen? Things kind of fall into place. Has that ever happened to you?
No.
No. Okay. What about you, Shadow? Has that ever happened to you?
Um, as I said, I think I believe that everything in the world has happened for a reason. Nothing like it's coincidence or like good or bad luck. Uh, Even it's bad or good things like love or illness or anything.
And don't you feel like you want to know where that feeling comes from? It's all based on a feeling. You say, I believe it because I do. Don't you want to know where that comes from? Does it bother you?
You mean what's come from? You mean why I believe that everything is for a reason? I think it's for logical things. If we live like life without everything here, without reason, I think this life it would be without meaning.
Life would be without meaning. Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm always personally stuck between thinking things are absolutely meaningless, but that we attribute them meaning, and therefore they have meaning. In other words, there isn't any, but we need to see it, and therefore we do. And yet, because we do, there is meaning. You know, so it's a I'm just talking about myself now. It feels like a self-fulfilling prophecy, but one that is essential to being a human being. There must be meaning, or what are we doing, right? There must be meaning, or what are we doing in our lives? But in my case, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, it's okay. I'm so sorry. I think sometimes we can understand what's the meaning behind this things that happen to us. Sometimes not, but not because it's without reason, because we can't understand these things. Because I think maybe if we walk in the way of life, we will discover things more after a time. I mean, it's not.
It's not obvious at the beginning.
Yeah, but in the end, we will discover that everything it's for a reason.
Okay, and then there's the problem that comes up in the article, which is that before, when we're at the beginning and we have to make decisions, are we going to be making good decisions if they're based on our faith and our beliefs? Because, as you said, we don't really know. But are we making good decisions with faith or belief, or are we making bad decisions? if we seem to be informed by the idea that there's an inherent human idea that everything happens for a reason. We can't really, it's a bias that we have, right? It might be true, but at the same time, we might be overgeneralizing. There's an interesting thing I read about, maybe Yuki, this is the same thing that you were reading about, that people who have certain kinds of problems like autism, some forms of autism, there's a name for it specifically, but I don't remember. One of the symptoms or one of the characteristics of one form of autism is that you can't make a decision.
Yes.
Right? And now
Right.
the surprising
They
thing.
think they think they tend to think only about themselves. Yeah.
Well,
So
it wasn't
leads to
that in
the
particular that I was thinking of.
indecisive.
It wasn't. That's true. That's a characteristic that is in some forms of autism. But the one that I'm remembering is it was the connection between emotion and memory. And for people who don't have such a strong connection, like literally your temporal lobes here in your brain, if you have epilepsy or something, you see meaning everywhere, even when there's no meaning. It's part of a side effect of an epileptic seizure. So some people with autism, or even some normal people who are, maybe mildly like this, there isn't a strong enough connection between the temporal part and the cognitive part, and they have trouble making decisions because they don't feel. If we don't feel that something's right, we can't make a decision. So it's as if to say, if we don't have a sense of interconnectedness and belief, we are stuck. We can't move forward. It's just like I remember that kind of reiterates what's in the study. I don't know if that makes sense.
I think we have to analyze the situation to make a good decision. But for the people of suffering from autism cannot analyze the situation because they only think about themselves. So they don't have a connect to the world, outer world. So it is very difficult for them to make a decision analyzing the situation. That's a problem.
It's empathy. They don't have empathy for others.
It connects to the feeling of empathy, of course. And such a people tend to believe a destiny and coincidence. So I think it is very, very close to what is written in this article. People who cannot analyze the situation and collect information widely. Such a people who cannot do this tend to believe destiny, and they tend to believe in God, and maybe sometimes they believe they belong to the some kind of sect. Yeah, or Shindikyo maybe. Yeah, so it is
or political party. Yeah,
it's some kind of dangerous moment.
So the danger could be that you form a whole belief system based on what is basically overgeneralizing, maybe. Let me ask you a question, Sylvia. I'm going to start with you for this one. Okay, but all of you are free. This is a big question, I think. Oh, why can't I copy and paste my questions? Hold on a second. I thought I could copy it into there we go. So you can see this in the window as well. Do you agree with the authors that it is not, quote, karma that punishes the bad and rewards the good, but that instead the events of human life unfold in a fair and just manner only when individuals work hard to make this happen? Yes, it's a long question, but it's a question.
Yes, the author said. Okay. Yes, I'm agree. Do you agree with the authors that it is not karma that punishes the bad and rewards the good, but that instead the events of human life unfold in a fair and just manner only when individuals and society work hard to make this happen? Yes, I agree with the author, are plural authors, that there isn't a karma and things happen. That's
Things happen.
without something pre-established,
Mm-hmm.
and so people work hard, and maybe sometimes it's what's happened? It's good, and sometimes it's not. That's all.
So what would you say to Shadow, who doesn't believe that? What would you say to her? And then Shadow, you can respond. So Shadow says everything's happening for the reason. We just might not know what it is initially, and we have to have a little patience and sometimes wait a long time. But it sounds like you've already made up your mind that that's not really how things work.
Shadow, why are you not agree with the author, and do you think that there is always a reason for everything?
I think Shadow, I think you already told us why. You said you believe it because it's a feeling. You just think that's how it works.
I believe that it's not. I believe it's deep in everybody's heart that he believed that. I mean, they believe that there's something. There's reasons for what they face or what they happen to them. And sorry.
Okay. Sometimes in Italy it's also true, especially because all of us read a book that is called Promessi Sposi, something like it was written in the end of 18th century, in the beginning of 19th, no, in the end of 19th and the beginning of 20th century, and in this story everything happens because there is a god or someone else who, especially God, that established that the things could do in this way and not in another way. And so,
what was the name of the book? Can you put it in the chat window? But write it so, because I'm hearing promises and promise. Oh, promesse. It's in Italian. Promessi Sposi. Spazi.
Yes.
Sposi Spazi.
Sposi. That is
Sposi.
so. There are two guys who wanna married, but they can't for all the book because before there was the head of the little town who wants the woman, and then there was the plug, and it's a really long story.
So, promessi sposi is sposi is spouse in English. Spouse. Right. So getting married.
Yes.
Getting married. Engaged. It would translate as engaged in English. To be engaged.
They're not engaged.
Oh, they're not engaged. Okay.
No.
Okay, I don't quite understand that. I can see the translation is the betrothed in English. Why the translation? So, Sylvia, just one more question. I didn't quite follow what you were saying though. In the book, they're trying to get married, but there's a lot of obstacles. Is that right?
Yes.
And what does that have to? And they think that the obstacles in the book, they find out or they come to realize that God is testing them. Is that the idea?
Yes.
Ah, okay. And you think that has a big influence on the culture where you live?
Yes.
Got it. Okay, got it.
Not now, but before, yes, because we have to read this book in the high school. So for 1 year, we read every week a chapter of this book.
So it's like the Bible.
Yes.
Got it.
Can I say something like a question?
Yeah, go for it.
it's for everybody, even if they are not religious or atheist. If something happened to someone, why he start asking himself always, why this happens to me? Why he start to search for reason if they don't believe that there is a reason?
Yeah, good question.
I think it's also connected to our brain structure. Our brain don't allow the situation that we don't understand logically. So we always want to our brain
We
always
can't leave
want.
it alone, right? We can't leave situations
Yes,
alone.
yes. Our brain always want the explanation. So we always tend to think that why we are here, why I am married with this woman, and why I work with this job. Yes, always we are thinking, but there is no answer. So at the same time, our brain has a tendency to more economical. Our brain want to economy the power, because always thinking is get you tired, and it consumes many energy,
Energy.
and yes, so we at the same time we are always thinking about the things, but at the same time we want to save the power. So such we are into the we are now in the balance of energy saving and thinking thoroughly, thinking hardly. So
So, Shadow, I think Yuki's answer for you is that if we don't give ourselves an answer, we'll go crazy. We'll expend so much energy.
yes,
We'll just keep going on and on and on till the
sometimes
batteries.
people get crazy if they think about one thing very carefully, hardly. So our brain prevent such accident.
And Silvio, last thought of the day. Do you
Sorry.
agree? Disagree?
Yeah, I'm true. I agree with Yuki. It's easier, don't ask.
I don't know. So, Shadow, do you like that answer, or it's not very satisfying?
If we're gonna talk about the answer, we will never finish this class. So
That's true. And it's time.
That's good.
It's
Except
time
for
to.
our teacher.
Well, I have to start
Time
another
to
one.
lunch.
I have to start another one soon, so I do have to go. All right. Well, look, I hope that was somewhat interesting. At the very least, you've got some good vocabulary, so it would be a good idea to review those words. Remember the synonyms like pious, secular, fluke, union. These are all good vocabulary words. One little thing I'm going to suggest, and I'll talk about it more next week, is if I correct you, or if I give you a suggestion, or if I write a note, sometimes when we have a notes document like the business class, I would highly suggest that you keep a file in your computer that you can copy and paste and start to keep track of those corrections and those new words. I would highly suggest do that. I think it's a great way to work with Verbling. So if any of the vocabulary was new for you, copy and paste it into a Word doc or a text file. Just that act alone is probably enough to get it into your memory. And we can talk about what to do beyond that. But think about that for these kind of classes. Not everything, but the important things. Okay? On that note, have a great weekend. I'll be back Monday, and I have no idea what else to say, so I'm leaving.
thank
Bye
you.
for now, everyone.
Thank you for
Have a
the
nice
fun
weekend.
time.
Bye-bye.
Have faith. See
Goodbye.
you soon.
Have
Bye-bye.
a good weekend. See you.